19-year-old Adam Petty is one none of us expected. Our thoughts and prayers are with the entire Petty family, and on behalf of everyone in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and ESPN, we dedicate today's race and broadcast to the memory of Adam Petty. The low point of Greg Biffle's career in the Truck Series was Memphis 1998, when he blew a tire, losing a race he dominated. It was retribution a year later, giving Biffle his first career Truck Series victory, launching him to a record 9 wins in '99. When an unapproved manifold denied him any chance for a championship, bitterness took over. That must be put behind. With no victories in 2000, it's now or never for Roush Racing today at Memphis. When you look at the statistics, you say, wait a minute, it can't be that bad. This time last year, Greg Biffle was 6th in the points. He's currently running 5th, but that was 9 victories ago, and he has yet to win here in the year 2000.
They need to make a statement, Marty. Here at Memphis today, they really need to make a statement because they have struggled this year. After that last victory last year, they have struggled. So maybe they can get something going today. If not, they've got Bobby Hamilton here, who's very, very fast. But they've got to beat Sprague, Wallace, the rest of these guys, or the 2000s is going to be an awfully long time for Biffle, Goss, and all this crew.
Well, we're in Memphis. That's the home of Elvis Presley. Remember that tune? It's now or never. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and NASCAR 2000, live today from Memphis Motorsports Park in Memphis, Tennessee, for Round 8 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's the Quaker State 200 by AutoZone. Take a look at the championship points chase, and as you see, the margin is 60 between Mike Wallace and Jack Sprague. But look at the names, because one thing that has happened, we have a lot of contact in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and when you have that much contact as we do, rivalries are bound to develop.
And neither one of these guys will say uncle. Neither one will try uncle.
No one in the Truck Series gives up easily. Sprague, Biffle, Wallace, and Busch have made that clear. They'll do whatever it takes to win and to pay back. Competition is fierce on the track, and if they can't make the pass the first time, get out of the way. Who will have the strongest will today in Memphis?
No matter which rivalry you talk about, you always end up focusing on Jack Sprague. He's a champion. Everyone has to go through him to get to the championship. And you heard Betty mention Bobby Hamilton earlier. He'll have to go through him too. Amy East, he's here.
Yes, he is, and he knows how tough this Truck Series is. He's not getting beaten, banged around anymore. Now he is the one to beat. He's qualified on the pole. He showed his race package yesterday in Happy Hour, and Bobby Hamilton is in a class of his own.
Let's take a look at our Mopar starting grid. On the pole for the 3rd time in his career, Bobby Hamilton in the Dana Dodge alongside Greg Biffle, who sat on the pole the last 2 years here. Then in row number 2, it's Brian Refner, his best starting position this year alongside of Terry Cook. In row number 3, Jack Sprague, the winner last week, and Rob Morgan, his best oval qualifying ever. In row 4, Marty Houston alongside of Rick Crawford. And in row number 5, our current points leader, Mike Wallace, and the man who finished 3rd last week, Randy Tolsma.
Back in row 6, Dennis Setzer alongside Scott Riggs in the 86 truck this week. Row 7, Kurt Busch, amazing rookie in the year 2000, and David Starr. In row 8, Rick Corelli and Joe Ruttman. In row 9, Jimmy Hensley and Andy Houston. In row 10, Jamie McMurray and Randy Renfro.
Then as we go further back, obviously focus for Steve Grissom and the Petty team. Very difficult. He's back in row number 11 along with Bobby Gill. Then as we move on further back, B.A. Wilson carrying one of our onboards alongside of Kenny Martin. Row 13, Randy McDonald and Rick Ware. Then Ryan Stockwell, Ron Barfield in his 2nd start this year in row 14. There's row 15, Carlos Contreras and John Young. In row 16, J.D. Gibbs. Lance Norick had a crash yesterday. We'll tell you more about that in a minute. Lance Hooper, also in the starting field, Andy Gensman and Wayne Edwards. Now, let's show Bobby Hamilton here on the track. The drivers got together and said, look, we want to pay tribute to Adam Petty and the Petty family. Bobby, for the pace laps, has moved back in his starting position, leaving the pole open. And Adam, and to Richard, and to the entire Petty family, that is the driver's salute to your son. Let's take a look at today's field. We have 15 Chevys, 13 Fords, 8 Dodges, and right now you can see Chevrolet has the margin in victories by a 3-2 count and a 7-point lead in the manufacturer's chase. And as we move to the onboards, BP.
This is B.A. Wilson in the Joey Sontag Ready Mix out of Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth. And Mike Wallace, Team ASE Ultra Motorsports, Jimmy Smith's car, truck. He starts in 9th position. On the outside pole, Greg Biffle in the Granger Ford. And this guy has been so tough here at Memphis. And Bobby Hamilton comes in, and he has been the tough guy so far this week.
Dave, you got an update on Greg Biffle?
Well, you know, Benny talked to Greg Biffle and crew chief Randy Goss through our vehicle of RPM tonight this week, and he told those guys, you should have done what everyone else did last week, right, Benny? Well, they thought about it, and Randy Goss was watching at home with his wife, Vicky, and he said, you know, we were so close. I thought we were going to have it. He said, but we may go the regular strategy today. Probably rights, 2 lefts, and rights this year if we're going to do it the same way we did last year. We won that way. He said, but I hate these decisions, and I hardly slept last night. Amy East?
A neat little tidbit from the Bobby Hamilton race camp is that 2 of their favorite trucks, Catfish and Goober, have found victory lane. The teams have now switched. Bobby Hamilton is in Joe Ruttman's victory lane car from Phoenix and vice versa. One's a drop snout and one's not. And Bobby Hamilton thinks he's got the better truck of the 2. And so far, I think he's right.
Well, thanks, guys. And Bobby has pulled back up into his position as we are on the final pace lap. Lights are out on the pace truck. And you mentioned it. This is a difficult race for all of us to do today. We've got to focus. We're going to do the best job we can. We'll do it for you and for Adam Petty as well. Let's take a look at the leaders of the pack. 2,000 lap leaders. Jack Sprague, 199 laps led. But look at the guy in second place. Bobby Hamilton, Martinsville.
Martinsville. He led almost all the laps at Martinsville. It was on a Monday. A lot of you didn't get to see it. But Hamilton just dominated the race, I guess, is the absolute word I'm looking for.
He led 179 of those laps, and he has flown in his Winston Cup pit crew, and he is serious about wanting to win this race. Remember, the team was fined $15,000 for something in the fuel, and Joe Ruttman was penalized 25 points. That dropped him down to 6th place in the points as a result of last week's qualifying snafu. The pace truck has pulled off. Will Hamilton be singing the blues, or will he be riding the tune in Memphis? Round 8 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is green. Coming out of turn 4, surprise, surprise, Hamilton's not going to be the race leader. It's going to be Greg Biffle.
That was really a class move by Bobby Hamilton. He didn't force the issue. He did not race Biffle down the corner. After all, he's not running for a championship. Greg Biffle is. He said, let the guy go. Let him get 5 bonus points, and we'll run 10 or 15 laps when these tires get hot. Then we'll see what happens. Mike Wallace trying to get on the inside of Rob Morgan.
A lot of new people up front that haven't normally been there. That was Rob Morgan. That is being passed by Mike Wallace. Right ahead is Marty Houston. They are coming off their worst run of the year. He finished 25th at St. Louis.
Now Morgan is losing a spot to Rick Crawford. That's Crawford in the black and red, number 14.
Well, Morgan has had Billy Engel on as crew chief now for 3 races, and you can start seeing the changes that he has been able to institute. Seeing it here in qualifying. He's hung out on the outside, though, right now, and there's the 25 of Randy Tolzman starting to close in as well. And there's Dennis Setzer trying to get underneath the Axiom Ford of Morgan.
Right now, when these tires are still fresh and the racetrack is green, it is very, very green because it rained heavily here in Memphis last night. It's washed all the rubber off the racetrack. So the inside crew, the bottom of the racetrack, clearly the fastest way early on in the race.
Setzer finished 5th here last year, has gotten around. Now battle between Marty Houston and Rick Crawford. Crawford getting underneath and passing the Spear Chevrolet. Did you see a little water kick up there?
Yes, there was lots of water down on the bottom of the racetrack. They were down in 3 and 4 early this morning trying to make sure that all the moisture was off the speedway. Right there this morning they had some trouble with water, but it looks like it's all been soaked up.
Yeah, we had thunderstorms roll through during the night, but luckily it is a beautiful sunny day. Very warm, though, in the 80s. Let's go back up to the front of the pack. It is the Granger Ford. Greg Biffle has taken the lead from lap number 1. Bobby Hamilton is in second place. The Quaker State 200 by AutoZone with 195 to go. Stay with us. Back after this. Bobby Hamilton has gotten around Greg Biffle, so it's our second lead change of the afternoon here in the early going. And the Dana Dodge is starting to open up a bit of a margin. Let's go back, BP, and show everybody the pass for the position.
Well, he did it in the right place, down in front of the grandstands. Goes down in turn 1, and Biffle, again, did not fight Bobby Hamilton because he realizes everything so far is pointed to the fact that the Ford truck is the best thing here. Let's run some laps, and we'll see if, in fact, that is true. But Biffle didn't want to challenge it this early in the race.
So with 186 laps to go, you got a glimpse that Hamilton is starting to close in on some slower traffic. In fact, he is going to go shooting around Wayne Edwards on the outside, and so it puts him a lap down here in the early go. Look at the battle for 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. That's Andy Houston. Houston tagged the wall yesterday in happy hour, did some damage to the Cat Rental Chevy, but he did get it fixed. But this team, they had 2 contacts with the wall at St. Louis. They're starting to struggle a little bit, BP.
They are struggling. They worked on it very, very late last night, about 10, 11 o'clock. Some NASCAR officials stayed here with the guys while they repaired the truck, had to take the engine out of it to straighten the frame after the contact off turn 2. But they told us the truck would be ready about 1 o'clock, and it was.
Well, he led 13 laps here last year, finishing 7th, crashed in 98 here, so he's had both the best and the worst of it. And move a little bit further back, there is Renfro. There's Grissom trying to get underneath the number 7 of David Starr. And Renfro currently running in 15th. He has moved up 5 positions. Oh, and, you know, we always tease him about having Barney riding along. And look at the pass here. Grissom getting around David Starr. And here comes Rick Corelli right behind him. And Scott Riggs in the 86. So right now, Starr's in a bit of a mess. He's got 3 trucks that have definitely got the position on him. Let's go back a few laps ago. That is Riggs in the Royal Crown Cola Dodge, the 86. Here comes the 66 of Rick Corelli. Ooh, gives him a little tap.
A little contact, and look behind. All of a sudden, we get 3, 4 wide going down in turn 1. Fortunately, they all funnel down to just 2 wide when they got there.
Riggs in that number 86, obviously taking over this week after last week's dismissal or quitting of Mike Pope, whichever side of the story you want to listen to, and don't know whether or not he's going to be in that truck past this week as we get a look at Rick Corelli. And Corelli, of course, everybody who remembers Memphis here last year on lap 11, that hard contact into the wall that we all thought for a moment he was very seriously injured, came back, has done very well so far in his return to the sport. Now we're a little bit further back to the battle with Andy Houston and Randy Renfro, and Barney has got him under attack.
That's a battle for the 14th position.
Barney being the number 41 because of the purple driving suit, and also Barney rides along in the cockpit. They have a little doll of Barney, and they put a helmet on him to qualify for NASCAR regulations. It's kind of cute. I wish we had an onboard camera with him we could show you. Wayne Edwards in the 93 getting lapped by those 3 trucks. And right now, Andy Houston is not the fastest of this group. Renfro's underneath. And he's going to take the spot.
Well, he looks like he's going to take the spot, and it might open the door for Steve Grissom in that 43 truck.
Dave, you got an update on Andy Houston?
You were talking about the changes earlier that they had to make due to that contact during practice. I just spoke with Rick Wren. He likes the time so far, and he said Andy's not radioing anything in, as it looks like the caution has come out now, guys.
We've got some contact. J.D. Gibbs along with the 54. That is Brian Sockwell. And there was a 3rd truck involved in there who just spun. It was the number 9 of Lance Hooper. He had some contact, but is back underway. Our first caution of the afternoon. Sockwell looks to have the worst of it. J.D. Gibbs making his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start.
Yeah, and we see that the truck does not want to roll, so the left rear is, and we can see the rear of the truck, how bent up it is. So it looks like the left rear tire is probably flat on Brian Sockwell's truck.
Sockwell in his 5th NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. So that's going to put us under an early caution here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Stay with us. Back with more. Race leader Bobby Hamilton, but we're under our first caution of the day because of a crash up in 3 and 4. Bobby Hamilton, everybody's asking him, don't be cruel to the rest of the Memphis NASCAR Craftsman Truck regulars. Look at this. He's had 15 career starts, 3 poles, one of them here. And his victory, of course, at Martinsville, where he dominated 4 top 10s, 3 of those in the top 5. But his average finish, it's either been feast or famine, really, Ben. He's either really good or if something happens and he's way back.
Yes, you see, when you have 3 top 5s and your average finish is 21.4, that means you've got a lot of finishes in the 30s.
Let's put a period on it for you for what happened up in that corner. A little contact between J.D. Gibbs and Brian Sockwell. They have been cleared from the racetrack. We also should tell you Lance Norrick, who had a hard crash in happy hour yesterday, did start his truck, made 2 laps. He has parked it for the day. He broke his left wrist. He said he'd give it a go. He tried. He couldn't make it. And so the Ventus team is pulled behind him. We're back to green flag racing here at Memphis on lap 28.
And Brian Raptor goes down in 1, 3 wide. Lance Hooper still making contact with the left rear of Raptor's truck.
From behind, no pressure.
Hooper is a lap vehicle there, so was Ryan McGlynn. Here comes Jack Sprague, and he is in a battle. He's trying to catch up to Refner. Side by side.
And I see some damage to the right front of Lance Hooper's truck. I wonder, I also see some smoke coming off that tire. I wonder if he might not have been the beginning of that spin up in 3 and 4.
Well, he was part of it. He managed to keep going, but you're right, BP. He does have a little more damage than it first appeared. We're on board with Mike Wallace. Wallace currently running 5th.
And that's, you see Jack Sprague on the inside of Lance Hooper.
Around the number 9, and here comes Rick Crawford, who's running in 6th, right behind Wallace. Wallace gets through, so does Crawford, and now Dennis Setzer is next. And look at the smoke. This is not the racetrack that you want to cut a tire. We found that out last year with Rick Corelli.
Yes, we did. Almost the same situation, only last year it was the left rear of Corelli's truck that blew. Going down in turn 3, and he hit the wall extremely hard. So hopefully Lance Hooper's spotter up above is seeing the smoke.
On board again with Mike Wallace. Well, the Lance Norrick crash, Goodyear determined it was lack of ventilation to the brakes. It literally melted the bead on the tire, BP.
Yes, we've seen several times of that situations like that this year. The brakes are getting so good in NASCAR Winston Cup truck and Busch Series racing that the drivers really can't tell when they're really getting the brakes hot, but the tires can. When you have an 1100-degree rotor about 2 inches from the tire itself, it just simply melts that rubber tire.
Action going on all around the 3/4 mile Memphis Motorsports Park. If you're saying, wait a minute, it looks a little bumpy back there, it is. Jack Sprague right in front of Mike Wallace. That is a battle for 4th. We talked about rivalries. These two have banged on each other quite a bit. Let's get an update from Amy on the 24.
Well, Marty, all day yesterday, Jack Sprague had one of the longest faces in the garage area, and I asked him why. He said, I don't know. We're just not good here. We're never good here. Well, he came out and qualified 5th, and right now he is a little tight in the center, but he says that condition is getting better. And his overall mental attitude, he quoted himself right before he came on for the green flag. He said, well, it might be a rubber swinging, pin-pulling extravaganza. So Jack Sprague's very loose and very comfortable right now in the driver's seat.
Both years, 98 and 99, he finished in 9th position. So it has not been one of his better tracks.
Maybe talking about the disposition of Jack Sprague this week. Well, victories will do that for you, the driver, and the team, for everyone involved. And again, a victory like they had last week in St. Louis, just a dominating victory.
Well, especially when he unloaded and said, man, we have got ourselves a race truck, guys, and was not bashful about telling anybody that it was a great piece of equipment underneath him. And so to come here after that great win, you know, you've got a little bit of adjustment to make. There is our race leader, Bobby Hamilton, and he has got about half a second on Greg Biffle here at the Quaker State 200 by AutoZone. And One of the team owners will have a couple of cars in the Indy 500. There is his truck team, the Johns Manville Chevrolet, Brian Refner, and he is currently running in third. He is our one to watch.
My personal goal is I got to get that first win. It's eating away at me, and I've got the equipment and people around me to do that now. So it's up to me to make that first win happen. And you know, if we start winning races, you know, the points will follow. So we just got to not get ourselves in a position where we get another DNF. We started the season with 2 DNFs, and we were like 30-something in points, and we've crawled our way up to 13th now. So I'm really happy with the way it's going.
Take a look at the 1995 ASA champion, Rookie of the Year in '96 here in the Craftsman Truck Series. Best finish in the career, third back in '98 at Flemington, but he's gone 96 races without a win. That's the most in the series, and maybe today's day. Now, we have just had a yellow go out. Kurt Busch went around in the number 99 Exide Ford, and you can see not a great deal of damage. I don't think he touched the wall, but boy, he lit up the tires.
43 laps into the race. You need to calm down. We're going to finish this race to one piece. We're going to do the best job we can, all right? If you need any tests, you do.
Let's go back and take a look, BP.
We see Joe Ruttman going in the corner behind Busch, and there we see the contact.
Whoa.
Ruttman gets in the back of him, and he goes up the racetrack, and here when he thinks he might be backing in the fence, he just nails the gas, does a 360, and continues on.
And it could be a little bit of anger also, because I'm sure he's going to have a few words with Joe Ruttman after this one's over. Let's go to Amy. Pit stops are happening.
Well, it looks like Bobby Hamilton along with Greg Biffle are going to be making their way down pit lane. 35 miles an hour. Bobby Hamilton hits his spot. He's going to take on right side tires and hopefully 2 cans of fuel. No complaints from him so far. Truck's good, but they hope to do it right, left, right. Tire change sequence. Dave Burns.
Rick Pirelli is in, making his return, and big trouble for Joe Ruttman now. Damage to the 18 truck. As he tried to get in and out of pit lane, he made contact with David Starr right here by Rick Pirelli. Pirelli's got left side tires, but he is now trapped in his pit. Have to put the Carlin emergency controls forward back. They push him out now, and David Starr is away. The 66 of Rick Pirelli is away, but Joe Ruttman has backed the 18 truck back into his pit for repairs.
A lot of damage to the nose section of Goober.
How in the world can you have that much damage at 35 miles per hour? And that's the speed limit on pit road. And look, the 7 truck
has hardly anything.
David Starr looks like it just got a little bump up that you'd find in a supermarket parking lot.
Pretty rough supermarket you go to there, Big B. Well, Joe Ruttman, after last week's qualifying snafu with the fuel and losing 25 points, dropped him down to 6. They were hoping to pull a 1-2 with he and teammate and the car owner, Bobby Hamilton, but boy, a lot of damage on the 18.
And right now what Ruttman is trying to do is just simply catch up with the field, and he'll have to come back in the pits to the attention of the crew, and they'll have to tape all this sheet metal back together.
All right, we'll sort it all out for you. We're going to take a commercial break because Joe Ruttman, you're right, BP, he's going to have to come back in. That nose needs a lot more repair. Here at Memphis Motorsports Park. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is round number 8. The Quaker State 200 by AutoZone. Marty Reed along with Benny Parsons down in pit lane. It's Amy East and Dave Burns. If you're just joining us, we're under our second caution for a bit of a fracas that took place involving Kurt Busch, and we had 6 trucks that did not stop under this caution, BP, and one of them is our new race leader, Brian Refner, along with Dennis Setzer, Terry Cook, Scott Riggs, B.A. Wilson. Those 5 did not pull into pit lane.
It's interesting to see how this is going to shake out. This is what happened to Greg Biffle back in 1998. He had the best truck, decided to stay out on the caution flag, very similar to this, waiting for the next caution flag to stop. He never got that next caution flag before he had to pit, and then the caution flag did come, and he was several laps down, or a couple of laps down to the field.
Yeah, he finished 22 and 22nd after leading 109 laps in the race, all because of that type of strategy. And on fuel, you basically could go almost half the distance here on this 3/4 mile track. So you could make it one stop on fuel, but you got a problem as far as tires. Now, Bobby Hamilton lost quite a few spots, Amy East. I mean, right now he is shown in 12th position. He brought his Winston Cup crew. What happened on the pit stop?
Well, I asked his crew chief, Tim Folks, I stood here and watched almost everybody pass him off of pit lane, and he said, you know, Amy, we just made a mistake. He said it almost seemed like it took him a little bit of longer time to get over to that right side, and then they decided to wait on the fuel. He said, we just made a mistake. We feel really bad. We've cost him all this track position. Dave Burns.
Amy, we mentioned during Rick Corelli's pit stop that there was contact on pit road between Joe Ruttman and it was David Starr. According to the Ruttman camp, Starr cut across the bow of the 18, and that's why that bodywork got all ripped off. I just spoke with Dana Ebersol. He's the interim crew chief while Danny takes a rest at home. Danny Gill, that is. Dana told me that they got the bodywork tape back on the 18 of Ruttman. He did not think that the suspension on the right front side was damaged.
Yeah, to put a period on the penalty situation, Danny Gill has been told to stay home for 3 races, and that's his suspension for the snafu last week at St. Louis. So Dana Ebersol, the crew chief.
And it's fuel. It was concerning some fuel. You know, Jeremy Mayfield had the situation down in Talladega. These guys last week, the fuel was not exactly the one it was supposed to be. So NASCAR coming down hard on fuel situations is not exactly what they're looking for.
Rick Corelli has pulled the 66 behind the wall as we go back to green flag racing. So not the kind of return that Rick wanted after his crash here last year at Memphis. He's in the garage area.
And also Brian Sockel, we saw him crash earlier on. He has taken his truck back to the garage area.
That is Scott Riggs in the 86. Lance Hooper right behind him. B.A. Wilson as well. Brian Reffner and Dennis Setzer. Whoa, and Hooper is still getting some smoke from that right front tire on the number 9. Every time he brakes hard into turn number 1. On board with B.A. Wilson. That is the 9 truck right in front of him.
Once again, this truck is owned by Joey Sontag out of Texas. Pilgrim's Pride is a poultry concern down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
There is Greg Biffle. He is trying to get around B.A. Wilson.
Battle for position. Battle for the 5th spot.
Outside, outside, outside.
Biffle underneath. They're getting mighty close. Did not touch, but you can't get much closer.
Mike Wallace was really looking on the inside. He's still looking on the inside of Biffle. Can't quite make it.
I love Max Jones. Outside, outside, inside too. Not what your driver wants to hear. On board with Mike Wallace. He is now right behind Greg Biffle. That battle for 5th continues.
No green, caution's out, Jack.
Caution out. Boy, we have got a log jam again. Again, it is turn number 3. The 72 is involved. David Starr's involved. The 72 is Randy McDonald. Also Andy Gensman there in the Hastings Filters Ford. He gets involved in this one. Our 3rd caution of the day. The record is 12. And no, we don't want to go anywhere close to that. A lot of damage to the 3mTraderOnline.com Chevrolet, as boy, that front nose is just taking a big punch. Let's go back and see what happened.
We see Kurt Busch, the 99 truck, going in the corner, and Gensman, I think, was trying to avoid. He makes some contact, looked like with Rob Morgan in the 46. He spins up in front of Randy McDonald, and then everyone just started stopping. I don't think that Bobby Gill in the 15 made any contact. Let's see here. The 46 is going to be on the outside, and I think right here is where Gensman is going to make contact. Right there is where he makes contact with the 46, and in trying to avoid that contact, he spins himself out and gets hit right in the left rear. And Jamie McMurray, the 26, barely squeezed by up on the top side of Andy Gensman.
Well, and Bobby Gill and David Starr managed not to make any contact, but they had to come to a screeching halt. Now, some of those trucks that did not take pit stops earlier are coming in. There is Scott Riggs in the 86. Here comes Rob Morgan as well.
Down.
And
5,
Kurt Busch.
4, 3, 2, 1.
They'll go to the right side tires on the X side Ford.
And the fuel already full.
I think they got a problem, BP.
He's just waving to make sure that the jackman realizes that the truck is full of fuel. They don't have to wait for because the gas can be held up, may be held up there. And once again, Joe Ruttman is trying to Joe Rutten is back in the pit area trying to put all the tape, everything they can on the nose of this truck to hold it together till the end of the day.
So the repairs continue on the 18 Dana Dodge. Your race leader is still Brian Reffner. He decided to stay out one more time as we are 143 laps from the finish of this one. Then just a little bit later, Busch going underneath Andy Gensman. Gensman tags the 46 of Rob Morgan, and the 72 of Randy McDonald tags Gensman. This is our third caution that we're under, and if you like all this action, well, guess what? Round 9 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is next week at Pikes Peak International Raceway, just south of Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's the Granger.com 200 next Sunday, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, here on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Remember that one last year? Mike Wallace, a lap down, comes back to win it in a thriller.
This is a race that Jack Sprague just dominated last year and lost in the last few laps of the race. You never, in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the rules, you can only change 2 tires per...
Green flag, green flag.
Per caution flag. Really changes thing up as to who's going to win and who's going to lose.
Restart on lap 62. Brian Reffner still the race leader. He has yet to make a pit stop. Dennis Setzer right behind. Likewise.
Lance Hooper up making contact with the leader. Hooper, that 9 truck.
Hooper trying to get his lap back. And Reffner says, no, you're not going to do it this time. Look at Terry Cook. He is working it also.
And Mike Wallace is on the inside of Biffle.
That is a battle for position. Hooper is the only lap vehicle in this group. Lucas Oil Products onboard telemetry, and look it out. Whoa, hold on to it, Terry.
Oh, and the round goes Terry Cook.
He almost saved it. Almost. It looks like, yes. Boy, it's awful wet there.
Go yellow, keep going.
Way to go, Terry. What a save. He could have been rammed into the wall. No caution. There's a ton of smoke on the front straightaway. It looks like we've been spraying mosquitoes. The pickup truck.com Chevrolet still in the hunt.
That's Ron Barfield in that red and yellow number 28 behind Terry Cook.
Let's go back, show you what happened. Watch the 88.
We see Mike Wallace, the 2 truck. He's on the inside of Biffle. And there we see, comes down, Terry Cook makes contact with Wallace there, and he just never quite gets her back. He almost gets her going straight, but then that second snap brings that pickup.com around, down through the mud, and that really is muddy down there. How he didn't keep on going around is beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, we were down there. It was very slippery. On board with Mike Wallace. So the puff of smoke is about all you see from the right side of Wallace's truck. But a great save by Terry Cook to keep his race hopes alive. Now, he has dropped back a bit into the field. In fact, he's all the way back to 23rd. But that's better than being parked in the wall. Let's get an update on the 88, Amy.
Well, since the beginning of the race, Terry Cook has been complaining of a push in 1 and 2 and loose in 3 and 4. Exact same problems he had yesterday, but even worse than that, his brake pedal has been sticking every single lap. So when he tried to get off the brake, he would have to take his foot, wedge it underneath. Oh, it looks like we have a crash in turn 2, and Terry Cook not quite as lucky as he was this front stretch. He's now pretty banged up outside of turn 2, but still keeps it going. We'll look for Terry Cook to make his way around pit lane as we now have a yellow flag.
So we are going to go yellow again, and there is Andy Gensman. He was involved in this one also, and several trucks got wrapped up in this one.
That's the Hastings filter, number 27, and it was one of those chain reaction deals, and Terry Cook had no place to go except the back end of another truck.
Well, Amy said his brakes were sticking on him, and he couldn't get to him quickly enough. Stay with us. We're back with more. Fourth caution here on lap number 70. Amy, the 88's in. What's going on?
Well, it looks like all they basically tried to do there was make sure that there was not going to be any sheet metal rubbing on either of the right side tires for Terry Cook. Cook, although the nose is smashed in severely. Luckily, there is no hole in the radiator. It was not leaking any fluid, so the motor should run. Right now, making laps for points. He currently sits 10th in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series point standings right now.
Well, yeah, last year he only had 3 top 10s all season long. He's already had 4, and as you said, he is running 10th, and it's a chain reaction.
Well, the wreck is going off in front of these guys, involving Andy Ginsman and Wayne Edwards in the 93 truck. And all these trucks checked up to try to avoid the crash, and it left Cook with nowhere to go.
Watch the left side. See, there's Edwards and Ginsman already spinning. And like you said, from there on, everybody's on the binders.
And we see Ron Barfield come through and almost spin out. That's the red and yellow truck.
Now here's the first incident that Terry was involved in just a little bit earlier, where he made a miraculous save.
Oh, and he almost drove back right in the side of Greg Biffle, but he did come back. He nailed the gas and goes down through the infield and keeps the truck going. Didn't even cause a caution flag.
Didn't even tear up the nice design work that the crews did on the infield, despite all the thunderstorms that we had roll through here last night. Dennis Setzer did make a pit stop. You got an update, Dave?
I do, Marty. They took on right side tires, and they took their time putting the fuel in and making no adjustments to the one truck. Taking their time, about a 15-second stop, and that's a big break for their new tire carrier today, team owner Bob Keselowski. Gino Ryan is not here today. Bob took over for him. They took their time, got Dennis in and out of here with right side tires.
But boy, did he lose some track position. He goes from 2nd back to the 20th position.
That was Bob Keselowski right at the beginning of the picture there, the gentleman standing up in the black shirt. No such thing in this business. It's not my job, right, BP?
No. Whatever has to be done is your job.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is back out. You heard the spotters call. Brian Reffner still out there and still in the race lead, but here comes Biffle. Sprague in 3rd, B.A. Wilson 4th, Mike Wallace in 5th.
And Biffle, I thought, had a run off turn 2. He's on the inside of Reffner. This is for the lead off turn 4.
Right, outside.
So that'll be our 4th lead change. Amy, you got an update on what's going on with Brian Reffner?
For a while, I didn't think they knew what was going on. Every time the yellow flag came out, they all were just kind of like, should we stop? Should we not stop? Brian doesn't want to stop. They have 74-year-old tires. I'm 74-lap-year-old lap tires. Wow, I didn't think I was going to get that out. But they just said, we don't want to stop. We are good, but there's another wreck. There may be a yellow, and he may now come out.
Well, this is teammates, Impact Motorsports, the 12 of Carlos Contreras and the 25 of Randy Tolsma. And Tolsma was running in about 10th position. So.
And no caution flag yet. There is no caution flag as of yet.
And they are going to let it stay green. So Biffle stays out front. He is closing down on Carlos Contreras. He's going to put him a lap down in just a matter of moments. There is the 12 Hot Wheels Dodge. And now another spin, and that is Kurt Busch. And even more spinning with Marty Houston back in turn 3. What is going on in turns 3 and 4?
And Bobby Gill has got some heavy smoke out of the 15 truck.
So it looks like there has been some contact again between a couple of these trucks. You're right, BP. It could be the 15 of Bobby Gill. And another tough day for the 99. Kurt Busch, remember, started out so well. And look at Bobby Gill as he's coming around. But Busch, his last 3 races, a 23rd, 11th, and a 21st.
With all the smoke out of...
Oh, and Marty Houston running by Bobby Gill saying, hey. And Gill says, don't give me that crud. This is racing.
With all the smoke that I saw out of Gill's truck, he might have broken an oil line or an oil cooler up there in the front of that 15 truck.
Well, things are getting a little heated between quite a few of our competitors out here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
And Jack Sprague is coming back in the pits and losing valuable track position.
So Sprague is going to surrender his 3rd spot in this field and make his 2nd pit stop here on lap number 78.
And Brian Reffner still has not stopped.
Amy, Jack Sprague is coming your way. This is a bit of a surprise.
I was surprised myself. I had no forewarning that he was coming in. He's now complaining of a loose condition, but they're putting on left side tires. So, of course, that will help tighten up the truck, and hopefully that's what they need right now. There we go. Jack Sprague gets out with left side tires, 9.1.
And 3 turns out of the left rear, so he is definitely trying to make that adjustment. And well, this turned into a short track race the way these trucks are starting to look. All right, let's go back and see if we can sort out all these collisions that were going on. Here is the 12 and the 25, Contreras and Tolsma.
And this did not bring out the caution flag because all these vehicles somehow were able to drive through this, and these two trucks were able to keep going.
Now here is Marty Houston. This is the result of the Bobby Gill incident. You saw those two. Wow. Man, we have got guys all over this racetrack. And one more angle. Well, that's the Gill contact with Rob Morgan. There's Bush going around. It looks like somebody dropped some fluid there. And in fact, look at the lens of our camera. There is some fluid on the lens of our camera right there in turn number 4. So maybe that's what started this whole mess. Randy Tolsma making his way around the racetrack. He has stayed out. We'll be back with more from Memphis Motorsports Park. Race leader Greg Biffle. We're going to take another commercial break as they continue the cleanup here at Memphis Motorsports Park.
2 rounds of wedge in. Gary Showalter, the crew chief, admits, however, that the truck is bent in the right rear.
He's currently in 20th position, but at least he is on the lead lap. He managed, despite all the melee, to stay on that lead lap. On board with Greg Biffle, the Lucas Oil Products telemetry. Did I hear somebody say smoke?
I sure thought I heard someone say something about smoke. We see, oh, and Biffle's way up out of the groove.
Managed to hold on to it, but boy, Brian Refner, who has not made a pit stop yet, is still out there. We are working lap number 86.
And Mike Wallace trying to take a look on the outside. I'm not sure that's going to work too well. I heard him say to Greg Biffle that the air pressure still hasn't built up the way that they should.
Top speed of about 134, hard on the brake. Down to 83 miles an hour, then back on the throttle. There is Bobby Hamilton. He is making a march towards the front. He has come from his 12th position all the way back to 4th. And he's zeroing in on Mike Wallace. There's Rick Crawford in the 14 as well, right behind Hamilton. David Dodge looks like it's on a rail right now, BP.
It really is. And it's so great for Bobby Hamilton. He has a truck. He knows that his truck is so good that he doesn't have to take any chances. He can sit back and ride and wait for the thing to come to him because his truck is that good today.
The man who dominated Martinsville, leading 179 laps, hasn't led as much here. And as we take a look at the line, who's going to be the quickest this time by? Well, it's the man out front, Greg Biffle, at 114 and change.
All of a sudden, Bobby Hamilton was right on the back bumper of Mike Wallace. Now he's lost a few truck lengths. He must have slipped off the last corner. I think we checked these times.
One of the spotters said he did get a little squirrely. Let's go at the line again. Now he's the second quickest this time around, BP. And look at Steve Grissom, who has made a march into the top 5 for the first time today. The 43, Petty by Dodge. And boy, you talk about a team that has had a tough time focusing. Started 21st, dealing with all the adversity, and he is running in 5th position. Amy, you got more on Bobby Hamilton and our race leader, Greg Biffle?
Well, I just checked in with his crew chief, Tim Folks, and he said, you know, we're all right. We're just biding our time. Next yellow flag will probably come in for left side tires, but he definitely thinks the truck is really good right now. And Benny, I just wanted to let you know you guys were right about the 50 truck. They just needed those air pressures to come up a little bit, and Greg has no complaints right now.
The question I've got is the guy right in front of the number 2 truck of Mike Wallace. When does Brian Refner have to stop? I mean, we are approaching the halfway mark of this race, BP.
Let me tell you one thing. When he runs out of fuel, he will stop. But unfortunately, he better hope there's a caution flag that comes before that fact because if he stays out there until he runs out of fuel, he's going to be 2 or 3 laps down when he gets back on the racetrack.
Well, Refner is driving a miraculously beautiful race. I'd hate to see it go away with a pit strategy error, because this team has been slowly but surely, after the beginning of the season, putting this program together as we're on board with Mike Wallace.
And all of a sudden, I would not be at all surprised to see Greg Biffle stop the next caution flag, because I think that he may be telling the crew may be telling everyone he's okay, but it looks to me like he is struggling around this racetrack.
Well, there is your top 4 locked nose to tail. Now remember, the Gatorade money is not for who leads at the halfway mark, it's for who leads the most laps. As we're looking at the battle for third, there's Brian Refner. Amy, what's the update on Refner's fuel situation?
Well, this is Les Mock. This is his crew chief. When are you guys going to stop? What kind of strategy do you have going here?
Well, we're having a little bit of trouble with the brakes, and one slow the truck up real good. We're in traffic. We just wanted to stay out there and run up front for a while, and we'll be coming in probably next yellow, get some fuel on it, get some tires on it. Good shape.
All right, well, for not him stopping, they have had one great truck for having such old tires. And, you know, in all honesty, Les really didn't want to tell me why he wasn't going to stop, but I said, come on, we got to know. This is some awesome strategy. So it looks like they'll stop on the next yellow flag. Hopefully it will come pretty soon for him.
Well, we'll find out together as we're approaching the halfway mark of this Quaker State 200 by AutoZone at Memphis Motorsports Park. Stay with us. But did not hit contact with the wall. Let's go to Amy.
Well, Greg Biffle is now coming into the pits. He's going to get left side tires and fuel. Goss is really wanting to make sure they get all the fuel in there. But Brian Refner, first time we've seen him down pit lane, he's going to take on right side tires. Dave Burns.
Left side tires for Mike Wallace. They made a wedge adjustment and a 9.7-second stop for Mike Wallace.
And Brian Refner, 17 seconds. Oh. What a costly pit stop.
And Bobby Hamilton is the guy that really suffered again in the pit.
Well, you would have thought with his Winston Cup crew that he would have been just dandy. He comes out behind Refner.
He and Refner are nose to tail. Oh, my goodness gracious. If he wins the race today, it will be exciting. Trust me as he passes all these trucks.
He's got his work cut out for him again. Remember, he was 12th after the last time he pitted, got his way back up to 4th, and now he's going to have to start it all over again. As we're going to take another commercial break, we'll sort it all out for you right now. Jack Sprague is your race leader because he did not pit. Racing, and Kurt Busch, who did not pit along with Jack Sprague, has taken the race lead. So now we've had our 5th different leader, 6 lead changes, and Kurt Busch, after having all kinds of problems earlier, is now the race leader, BP. And take a look again.
He got a terrific run on the restart. The green flag was thrown on the front stretch, down the back stretch, coming off 2. Busch gets that terrific run in the X-side Ford, goes for the lead.
And the last race that Busch led was back in Portland. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, there is Greg Biffle, his Killer B teammate. He's got his hands full with Mike Wallace. That's a battle for 6th.
Right now it's on the inside of Scott Riggs, a Royal Crown Dodge.
Riggs has 5th, at least momentarily, but he's hung out to dry on the outside.
And there's Jimmy Henson, the 16 truck, coming into the scene.
Take a look at the pit stops. Refner came in 2nd, out in 13th, and Hamilton 4th and 14th. No, Steve Grissom 5th to 21st. Wow.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, just like the NASCAR Winston Cup, the NASCAR Busch Series, races are won and lost in the pits every race.
Battle continues to go. Woo, a little tail happy. Riggs trying to hold on to position. Let's get an update on Jimmy Hensley, who had his season best last week in 2nd, Dave.
Talk about pit strategy. I just spoke with his crew chief, Troy Selberg. Right, left, right. How about this? None, rights, and none. They've made 3 pit stops adjustments. They've made wedge adjustments in fuel on 2. They have only changed right side tires. Troy smiled and said, I'm saving those right sides for the end of this thing.
Well, Jimmy and Team Renzi have a new sponsor on that number 16 truck, Mobile Max 2. It's an internet, satellite, two-way internet, satellite communications company. And they're on board for the rest of the season. They've already hired some more help. And look at Jimmy. He's a lot younger than his age right now. At age 54, one of the oldest out here. But boy, he's still, you give him the right equipment, he can take it towards the front. Sprague was up behind Kurt Busch. Here he comes again. This is the battle for the race lead with 89 laps to go. And they have checked out by about 2 seconds over Jamie McMurray, who is shown in 3rd. He did not pit last time. Biffle is 4th. Mike Wallace has moved up to 5th.
Right now, Biffle is
Start your line. Put on your brakes and turn your corner.
Biffle just took over that 3rd spot. And Mike Wallace trying to get by Jamie McMurray for 4th. Meanwhile, this is the battle for the lead.
Yeah, you know, I find it amazing that the 99 is in the race lead after the number of times that they have been in so many close calls and going around. Dave Burns, what's going on in that camp?
Well, we'll ask his crew chief, Matt Chambers. Matt, it's hard for us to believe he is in the lead right now. You guys have been digging hard all day. What's he saying to you right now?
Yeah, 10-4. The Tractor Supply Company Ford F-150 is running pretty good. We kind of got screwed up a little bit on our pit stop strategy and had to improvise a little bit when we got spun out a couple times. So we're just hanging in there, and Kurt Busch is doing a great job, and we've got all our tires put on except for a set of right sides, so we're just hanging out for that last stop.
And when will that be, Matt, and what will you do to the truck?
We're not going to probably make any adjustments. It's pretty good, but we're going to pit with everybody else and try to beat them out of the pits.
Okay, he's being a little mum on when it's going to be, but they need to probably put right sides on one more time on the 99. And Kurt Busch, it appears, guys, has settled down.
Well, by our statistics, he last pitted on lap 57. We're working lap number 116. And talk about our Memphis connection, all shook up. His first 4 races, his average finish 4.25. The last 3, however, have not been as good. 18.33. In fact, it's 23rd, 11th, and 21st. So this would be another shot in the arm if he could claim victory here. His best finish was 2nd back at the season opener at Daytona, and again at Mesa Marin.
The 21st last week in St. Louis, though, was really, truly, you can't, very deceiving because he ran out of fuel and lost 3 or 4 laps trying to get the truck pushed in the garage area to get some fuel.
Well, right now, he's got plenty of fuel, and the crowd is enjoying it here at Memphis Motorsports Park, round 8 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Stay with us. Can Kurt Busch hold on? We'll find out.
Andy Houston, the 60 truck on the inside of Jamie McMurray. This is a battle for the, looks like about the 10th position going in turn 3, and Houston has it.
And McMurray's been backing up. He was doing very well about 5th, but now he's going backwards. Dave, you got some information on the 26th?
Well, he's not running the best times of the day. He stayed out on that last stop. I just spoke with his crew chief and owner, Mike Mittler. They're saving their right side tires. He said they will have to come in about lap 160, and they just wanted to hang on to one last set of rights.
And speaking of rivalries, like we were at the beginning of the show, look out, here we go. Greg Biffle inside of Jack Sprague. That's for position.
And he just turned left and took over that spot. So right now, Jack Roush's truck's running 1st and 2nd here.
I think a lot of guys are saving some stuff.
That was Greg Biffle you heard.
They were telling Biffle that I think some guys are saving some stuff.
that you got to save. Everything else will be all right.
So don't feel too proud of yourself. He said, and Biffle said, well, so am I.
Let's take a look at our Dodge race recap. Kurt Busch, our current leader, he has led 22 of 127 laps. We've had a total of 6 lead changes between 5 different drivers. 6 cautions. The record is 12. Our average speed is at 80.9 miles an hour. Here are the guys who have led laps. Bobby Hamilton still has the most at 39. That's where the Gatorade money goes. And, of course, you get 5 bonus points for leading a lap and leading the most. Biffle, Reffner, Busch, Sprague also in that mix of lap leaders. Off the track right now, John Young, Randy McDonald, Randy Renfro, Andy Ginsman, and Terry Cook. Out of the race, Bobby Gill, Ryan McGlynn, Rick Corelli, and Brian Sockwell. We'll have to verify whether Terry is just off making repairs or out of the race altogether. Top 5 right now. Greg Biffle, Jack Sprague, Mike Wallace, and Scott Riggs in the Royal Crown Cola Dodge, giving that truck its best ride of the season so far.
I think Scott Riggs is a very, very talented race car driver up in Virginia. Say Virginia, might be northern part of North Carolina, around Durham.
Yeah, it's Durham listed as his place of residence. There he is coming through the screen. Uh-oh, Bobby Hamilton. Remember, we talked about it being feast or famine. He is pulling into pit lane. The man who dominated Martinsville is in trouble. And in fact, it's behind the wall. He's going straight to the garage area.
Oh, man, oh, man.
So first it was the contact with Joe Ruttman and David Starr that took out the Team Dana Dodge 18 from contention. And now it is the number 4 of Bobby Hamilton. And the wheel is off and it's done. So the one lone Winston Cup driver who came on over to race with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regulars is out of this race. And now it's a battle up front between the Killer Bees, the Roush teammates. Kurt Busch and second place, Greg Biffle. Moving back, and there's the margin back to 5th place, Scott Riggs. You know, you were talking about this Durham, North Carolina resident. His best run in his career. This is only his 3rd start. He finished 9th back in Martinsville. His one career top 10, that being that race. And I'll tell you what, BP, he may be able to solidify his position with a good, strong run here. There's Dennis Setzer starting to close in behind him. Both trucks running Arrington motors.
Before the race, he had gone and polled all the people here, the competitors, drivers, so who would be the leading Dodge driver at lap 115. I doubt very seriously that Scott Riggs would have gotten too many votes.
Well, he is right now. There's Rick Crawford currently running in 7th. He's had a silent, strong, consistent run. He's been in the top 10 most of the day. Hasn't been able to get up into that top 5 and stay there at any stretch. There is Andy Houston, as he is currently running now up into the 8th position, and that's good news for Andy because he qualified 18th.
And had that problem in happy hour yesterday afternoon, and when you do all that work and the truck is not able to get back on the racetrack and check all that work out to make sure everything is okay. Also a tribute to the crew, just how well they worked to put this truck back together so that he's able to go out and be in the top 10 and not have any problems.
Jimmy Hensley, we've already talked about him coming off his season best 2nd place. And then there's Brian Reffner, who after the long pit stop has fought his way back up to the 10th position. And right behind him, with a little bit of damage on the nose, is the 18 of Joe Ruttman. So he's running in 11th position. Tip that also to the guy who is running behind him in the 12th spot, right behind there, the 98 of Kenny Martin. Look at the damage on Ruttman. There's Kenny Martin. Now, this guy came out of the box as he started 24th here and is up to 12th. But, boy, his first race at Daytona finished 5th. And, boy, everybody thought, where did this guy come from? But since then, it has been a bit of a struggle. So this is a good run going for him. He was 22nd last time out. There's Randy Tolsma. Of course, he had the contact early. He's moved up in the last few laps from 17th to 13th, BP.
And Tolsma, just some tough breaks to get spun and have to go back to the back of the field and get hung up in all the traffic. And again, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is very similar to all the other touring divisions in NASCAR. The competition is so close that if you get in the back of the field, it's hard to work your way back through.
Well, here's a case in point. Steve Grissom, a horrible pit stop, dropped all the way back to 21st. He's fought his way back now to 14th with 60 laps remaining here at the Quaker State 200 by AutoZone. So we've been able to give you a look at the top 14. We can tell you it's Jamie McMurray that has dropped back. And there is B.A. Wilson in 16th position. So we have a total right now of 19 trucks on the lead lap. David Starr right behind him, and that's a battle for position. Stay with us. Kurt Busch is still up front here at Memphis. Lap number 1 147 of 200 at the Quaker State 200 by AutoZone. The Killer Bees are out front. Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, the Roush Racing partners. But a disappointing end for Bobby Hamilton. He's climbed out of the truck. Amy East is caught up with him. Amy?
Bobby, you had such a great truck. What happened? Why are you not racing anymore?
We had some kind of small vibration to come in it, and from a car owner standpoint, I'm sitting there looking how bad the 18's tore up, and we see how bad it tears up stuff when you have a flat tire here. So I said, heck, I keep having bad pit stops and everything. I'll just park and watch the end of the race and let the 18 get some points.
Well, it's not what we expected because you were by far the truck to beat here today.
Yeah, it's a real good truck, but again, you know, we knew if we pitted again, we just couldn't have any good pit stops, and we'd go back to back and take a chance tearing the truck up. Plus, it had a vibration, and didn't want to oil the track now with these guys running. We just didn't know what was supposed to come loose on it, so I elected to park it because these other guys running for points.
When are we going to see you back in the Truck Series again?
We got New Hampshire and Richmond.
Sounds good. We'll look for you then.
Thank you.
So the battle continues up front. In fact, the margin has opened up to almost 1 second. Kurt Busch over Greg Biffle and Jack Sprague in third.
We see our Lucas onboard telemetry with Greg Biffle, 8,700 RPMs, as Jack Sprague closes in right on the back tailgate of this Ranger Ford. Oh, little loose coming off turn 4.
Let's talk a little strategy on the first 3 trucks, BP. The 99 last pitted on lap 57, the 24 pitted on lap 78, and the 50 pitted on lap 102.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the 99 truck has to stop again. And I wouldn't be surprised if that isn't what they've told Biffle.
So you think Biffle's in the catbird seat right now because he was last to stop?
But does the 24 truck have to stop again? Those are the questions we need answered. Dave Burns, do you have any answers for us?
Oh, Benny, I almost had the answers for you until you threw the 24 in there. But on the 50 truck, they can go the rest of the way, according to crew chief Randy Goss. On the 99, crew chief Matt Chambers told me they will have to stop at around lap 190, and they do have a set of rights left to put on the 99. And Amy, I guess you have Benny's answer on Jack Sprague.
They would like to stop and get another set of right side tires, but they will see how this race strategy plays out. Right now, not too many complaints from Jack Sprague, but if it works as though everybody comes on down pit lane, they have the confidence in their pit crew that they can take on rights and keep that track position.
Question right now, can he make it on fuel? He's got to run 122 laps. Now, some of these laps have been run under the caution flag where you don't use as much fuel, but that's a lot of miles to have to run on fuel.
That is. We've had 6 cautions so far for a total of 31 laps, but a lot of those came before that halfway mark and lap number 78 when Jack Sprague pitted. So the strategy continues to unfold as the margin is now just over a second between Busch and Biffle and 0.7 of a second between Biffle and Jack Sprague. See his last lap at 112 miles an hour.
Down there in the top groove.
If you're just tuning in, welcome to round number 8 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Marty Reed along with Benny Parsons, Dave Burns, and Amy East down in pit lane. Kurt Busch is our current race leader. He has now led the most laps of the 5 guys that have led this race. He's had 50 markers up front. We've had a total of 6 lead changes, 6 cautions for 31 laps, and our average speed right now at 85.2 miles an hour. You're on board right now with B.A. Wilson, currently running in 18th position. In fact, he's the last truck on the lead lap. Stay with us. For position going on between Kenny Martin and Steve Grissom on the outside. That's a battle for 12th.
And Grissom is trying to pass Kenny Martin, but meanwhile, right in front of them, they have been trying to pass the 3 truck of Brian Refter. Kenny Martin, the 98 truck, a great run going here today.
And he is trying and holding on to the spot. Let's go back 1 lap earlier and show you what happened.
You would see the 98 of Kenny Martin making a little contact, trying to get under Refter, and there he gets a push from behind by Grissom, and wow, almost spins her around.
Nice save by Kenny Martin. So, Martin, you got an update on the 98 there, Dave?
Well, Kenny Martin is very happy with the truck that he has here this weekend. In fact, last week, he scraped up the right side of it at Gateway, and instead of pulling out one of the other trucks that they have in the shop ready to go, he had the guys put an entire new right side on it because he said, I like it so much. And obviously, it was a great choice here at Memphis.
It's interesting that he used the word scraped because Kenny's day job, he's in the excavating business as well.
And his brothers know Angelo pretty well. Angelo's always bringing some of that Italian sausage from Cleveland. And look how he closed it up right on the back bumper of Brian Ruffner.
That's a battle for 11th. 34 laps to go here at Memphis. Let's check in on third place. Jack Sprague. Amy East has more on pit strategy. Amy?
Just checked in with the 24 camp, and they started looking at the numbers and calculating. Last time they stopped for fuel was lap 78. So there is no doubt that Jack will have to come back down pit lane and get some fuel. As far as with the two of Mike Wallace, they're saying the opposite because they took fuel last on lap 102. Tim Cahoon is not concerned with fuel, but is concerned with the tire issue. So the two may come down for right sides. The 24 will definitely make a fuel stop.
And I think that's one reason that
No problem.
Mike Wallace, Biffle, I think Biffle again is back there behind the 99 truck, his teammate. And I think they probably right now could be a little faster, but I think he's trying to make sure that those tires will last the rest of the day in case this thing should go green. The rest of the way, I think that Mike Wallace and Greg Biffle can make it, and also possibly Dennis Setzer in that one truck.
Did you notice the damage on the right rear of the two truck? Mike Wallace is very aerodynamically unsound. I mean, that's got to be some drag. And Setzer for position underneath the Team ASE Ultra Wheels 4.
And Dennis Setzer takes that spot away, so we'll move him up into the 4th spot.
So Wallace drops back one. Setzer on the move. Another guy who's on the move is Tolsma. He's up to 7th. Look at back further on. Kenny Martin, Grissom, they've both gotten around the number 3 of Brian Reffner.
And we see the 14 of Rick Crawford not too far up in front of them. And here comes Grissom on the inside of Kenny Martin.
Oh, and he's trying to use the 75 as a pick, and it's going to work. Marty Houston blocks the path of the 98, so Kenny Martin has to fall in behind. That's experience right there on Steve Grissom's part.
That is experience. Steve Grissom, a very good quality race car driver in this 43 Dodge truck.
Well, Grissom ran here last year in the Busch race, started 27th, finished 13th. Could have had a better run, but Amy East was telling me, she talked to teams, and what happened, their jack stand was actually too low. They had to lift the car up to get the jack underneath. I thought that was extremely interesting. Would have been interesting to see how much better he would have run in that race that time. Kurt Busch right now with over a 1-second lead over Greg Biffle. Jack Sprague another 3 seconds back. Stay with us. We're heading towards the end of this one. Now Ford of Jamie McMurray has lost something, and he is blowing smoke all over the racetrack. So that is going to slow this field down, and now the strategy is really going to get interesting.
It all goes back to the pit crews now, and the guys that win the battle on pit road, the driver just may win this race today.
As the teams get ready to make that stop, it looks like, yes, Busch is going to take it in. So is Greg Biffle. Here comes Dennis Setzer, Jack Sprague, Mike Wallace, and Randy Tolsma. So all of our top 6 players, and a tip of the hat to Tolsma. He has brought himself back after getting spun around early to 6th position. Now, as you said, BP, pressure's on the pit crews. Let's go to Dave Burns. They're coming your way, Dave. The clock is going to run.
And Kurt Busch, after an eventful day here at Memphis, gives up the lead, comes on pit road, crew immediately, fuel only, no adjustments. Kurt Busch would have had to stop at lap 190, and he is out of here. Amy East.
His Rouse Racing teammate's going to take right side tires and just a splash of fuel. He now gets off pit lane. Good stop for the Granger team.
I am amazed they did not take tires on the 99. 25 of Tolsma coming out. There's the 43 and the 14. That's Grissom and Rick Crawford. They're going to argue over who got the line first. And I think Crawford's going to acquiesce. I don't know. I think Biffle's in the catbird seat right now, BP.
Well, I believe he is too. I mean, he has right sides on the car, and I don't know why. Maybe what happened with Jack Sprague's truck.
They simply came in and took the fuel that they needed, and they also took right side tires. They were very pleased with that stop, and he's come out of the pits in 4th position.
Well, let's go back to our race lead, and the race lead is actually Andy Houston because he stayed out. David Starr is shown in 2nd place. Kurt Busch is now 3rd. Stay with us. Back with more. Go. The race leader is Andy Houston. He did not stop, nor did David Starr in 2nd place. Dave Burns.
Marty, 5 laps before that caution, I spoke with the 60 crew chief, Rick Wren. He said, we will not stop. The truck is good enough. As far as the 99 of Kurt Busch, they didn't take tires because they wanted to make sure they won the race off of pit road.
Well, they did that. Here we go. 7th caution is over, and the laps are winding down. 17 to go. And Houston did get a good start. That's Rob Morgan in the 46. He is 1 lap down in 17th.
Biffle going on his teammate. This is for the 3rd spot, 4th spot, and we see the 46 truck spin off the corner. Can Morgan get him going without a caution flag?
He's down in that muck and mire right on the front straightaway. If he can't get it refired, we'll have to have another caution.
And Jack Sprague's got by Biffle, and he goes on the inside of the 7. They go up the hill, and here goes Biffle.
And the caution flag is out. The caution flag is out. We do not race back to the flag in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So we'll get it all sorted out, and we have our 8th caution of the day as the 46 of Rob Morgan has got it refired, but oh, look at the damage on the 43 of Steve Grissom. Here on lap number 186 of 200. At the stripe, of course, we'll have to wait and see. Now, maybe we'll get to see on the replay here. Take a look for the 43. Whoa.
Oh, he gets a bump from behind from the 75 truck, Marty Houston, and Grissom does a great job to keep the truck from going around.
We have seen about 3 great saves today. Unfortunately, that was not one of them. Poor Rob Morgan went all the way around, and see, he's just in that slippery muck and mire. That's what made Cook's save so incredible. That is so slick down there.
All it needs is a little push. If you get a couple of guys to run out and give him a push, we'll be good to go.
Well, Amy, what's going on with Brian Reffner?
Well, they went from a team that looked like they had a great pit strategy to a team who totally has no pit strategy. They've decided to stop for right side tires, a little bit of damage on the left rear of the number 3 truck, but overall just basically off their pit sequence from what they had hoped would have been their race.
That's going to drop him back to about the 16th position, and we're not into under 10 laps, so the 10-lap rule won't come into effect where all the lead trucks would get to move to the front, so he's going to have a lot of traffic to deal with. Now, let's show you why we're under caution here. It's our 8th time. Watch the 46 there, the Axiom Ford.
He just comes off the corner trying to race with these guys, nails the accelerator, and around he goes.
And we can tell you that Rob has gotten it refired and has gotten a push out of the mud and is back out onto the racetrack. So we should be going green here very shortly. While we've got a moment, want to pass along congratulations to Kevin Triplett, Director of Operations for NASCAR. Wife Jill had a baby boy, Lucas. And you know what? Kevin takes a lot of heat. Everywhere he goes, it always seems to rain. He was with us last week in St. Louis. Kevin, there's no rain here. It went through last night. You stay home with Jill as long as you need to, buddy. Let's give a tip of the hat to David Starr in the number 7. This is John Conley's truck, and I've got to tell you, if he holds on to this position, it will by far and away be his best career finish. Let's get an update from Dave Burns.
Well, they've been working hard all weekend to keep that truck up front, and they're really ticked off at NASCAR right now because David backed off when things started to happen with Rob Morgan. They're not going to give them their positions back up there, and they've been chasing problems all day. They've actually overcome some adversity. They had a left rear tire go down early today, and then they put the wrong tire on the left rear. They had to switch it back. So it's been a good day for Conley Racing, but also a frustrating one for David Starr. And they did say, talked to him earlier today, they have a deal for the remainder of the year. It's a handshake deal, but they plan to work together for the remainder of this season.
Yeah, it was costly. It drops him from 2nd back to 7th, but that would still be better. His career best was last year at Texas, where he came home in 14th.
Right now, Andy Houston, the 60 truck, did not stop. Has used tires. Right behind him, Jack Sprague, the 24 truck, has new right sides. Sprague Biffle, new right sides. And Sprague, and you see the 43 truck almost about to lose his rear bumper cover.
Randy Tolsma wants to get around quickly if he can, not get caught in that. And we are back to green flag racing with 11 laps to go.
And Biffle's going to try to get under Sprague. Coming off turn 2. This is the battle for 2nd place.
Down the back straightaway. Houston hanging on for dear life. He's loving this battle behind him. On board with Biffle. Talk about rivalries. This is a big one brewing. It is not going to be easy. For 10 laps to go. Oh! Houston bobbles and catches Sprague, and that allows Biffle to get underneath.
Wow, what a great break for Greg Biffle. He gets in the corner, and the 60 truck bobbles just enough to have Sprague have to check up and allow Biffle to take the lead. But it's still not over. And now the 99 truck has a problem off turn 4.
Yeah, Busch got loose, and Setzer's right alongside. While look at them, there they go. That's your top 5. 9 laps to go, and Setzer does get around Busch. Remember, he did not take on tires, Kurt Busch, and it's costing him dearly. Here comes Wallace closing in as well. On board with Mike Wallace. 8 laps to go. Wallace on the outside, going to make it stick, and he is going to pass Kurt Busch. So Wallace takes over 5th. That is our points leader. Grissom coming right along.
Meanwhile, it's not been a good day for Bobby Hamilton Racing because Joe Ruttman is taking the 18th Dana Dodge to pit road with just a few laps remaining in the race.
And more damage. The tape has come loose. I don't know if he got tagged again, but he can barely see out of the front of the 18 Dana Dodge. Biffle's lead right now, a half a second. Look at this logjam. That is Randy Tolsma behind Kurt Busch. Lance Hooper's lap vehicle. But Crawford, Starr, those 4 trucks are all in the thick of this battle for position. 6 laps to go.
Tolsma diving down to the inside, trying to get run. And now the 99 would just love to ride alongside the 9 for the rest of the day. You can't do it. Tolsma's on the inside.
Oh, and they bump fenders. Here comes Crawford underneath Tolsma. Meanwhile, Hooper, the lap vehicle, may not score many points with friends if he gets in the way of this. There goes Jimmy Hensley. That's for position. So is Refner. Oh, this tire strategy on Busch is killing him.
And here comes Kenny Martin trying to take a spot away. Another truck to stop has better tires than Kurt Busch.
Backing up quickly. 4 laps to go.
And we always talk about what a huge advantage that new tires, cold tires, have over used tires, hot tires. I think Kurt Busch is a clear example of what we've been talking about over these years.
B.A. Wilson on board. He's in 14th. In fact, if he gets around Kurt Busch, that's for 13th. That's how far back Kurt has fallen. Meanwhile, let's go back up front. 2.5 laps to go. Greg Biffle won here last year. Had that disaster 2 years ago. And remember, at the beginning of this broadcast, he had to make a statement today. 2 laps remaining. He gets around Wayne Edwards. We go on board the Granger 4.
And right now, Joe Ruttman is a slow truck out there that may impede the progress a little bit up Biffle as he comes by for the white flag.
Last time you heard Randy Goss call it out for his driver. Came into this race in 5th. Here comes Sprague. Sprague underneath. Biffle gets high and Sprague takes the position. Sprague in 2nd place in the points coming into this race is going to make it back to back. Here comes Biffle. He tags him from behind. top 5, and for the second week in a row, the 60 ends up into the wall, and I don't know how that happened. Up in turn number 3, Andy Houston. And this is really going to hurt him in the points because there were 16 trucks on the lead lap.
How about that Sprague taking advantage down in turn 1, the slower truck of Joe Rudman to take the lead and win.
So Sprague makes it back-to-back, and Dave Burns said the championship goes through Jack Sprague. And guess what? He just made a statement that, boys, I'm still the guy. I am the champion in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and we'll talk to him when we come back. A thrilling finish on the last lap. Jack Sprague manages to get by Greg Biffle for the win. Amy?
Well, he said he doesn't do very good here at Memphis. By the time I got to Jack Sprague, the first thing he said to me is, well, what happened? How did that happen? And I'm going to be the first to ask him because he just kept digging and digging there at the end, running down Biffle. He made that last lap pass. We're all showered in Gatorade now. The GMAC crew simply is so excited. All right,
buddy.
How did you pull that off?
I really didn't pull it off, but first of all, I gotta say, once again, 2 weeks in a row, our thoughts and prayers are with the Petty family. And man, I can't believe what's going on here lately. But you know, there's no way of me understanding what they're going through, and I hope I never have to. But you know, Kyle and Richard and their whole family, and you know, it's just a bad deal. But hey, this is the best GMAC Chevrolet I've ever had here. I wasn't gonna win the race. You know, we were gonna run second, and we went in the last corner there. And somebody told me just now that Rutman was putting fluid down and Biffle got into it. But, you know, he was going to win the race, and we were going to run second and be happy with that because we've never run that well here. But when things are going your way, they're going your way because this was a gift, and I understand that. But we still had a great truck. The guys did a great job in the pits. And I'd like to say hi to Rick and Papa Joe back at home and everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. And thanks for giving us this opportunity to have this good time.
He wasn't expecting it, but he pulled it off. Dave Burns.
Amy, talking with Greg down here, I think we have confirmation, Greg, on the track conditions there in the last lap.
Yeah, there was fluid down. You know, we got all sideways squirrely coming off of turn 4. The 18 blew up, and, you know, he wouldn't get out of the race groove, but, you know, that's racing. We got down in turn 1. I should have known to just enter the corner in the second group, you know, and let the 24 try the bottom because I knew there wasn't any grip down there, and didn't do that, you know, but I feel bad for the guys that built a great truck, awesome pit stops all day long, and I just want to send our condolences to the Betty family. What a tragic loss, and I just hate to see something like that in our sport.
Okay, 50 team will try to make it happen next week for the first time in 2000 at Pikes Peak.
Take a look at the final results. The arrow means that driver led a lap. The double arrows for Kurt Busch led the most laps. In fact, he led 74 of them. He'll pick up 10 extra bonus points, a total of 16 through 30. You can see how many trucks started dropping out from the 27th position on down. Sprague mentioned he hadn't done very well here in the past, BP. He finished 9th the last 2 years. Pulls this one out because of the fluid in the last turn, but as they say, that's a racing. And really, I don't think that you can say that this was a bad event for Greg Biffle.
No, it wasn't, because he can take this. I think the team, Biffle and the team, can take this, and they can build on. Andy Houston, we saw him crashed going in turn 3. Here's what happened. A tap from Mike Wallace, the 2 truck. Andy Houston in the 60, around he goes. He nails the gas, trying to make it do a 360. It won't do it. Goes up and slaps that wall with the right side. We saw Andy Houston walk away from the truck. He is okay.
Yeah, and you talked about rivalries earlier. That's going to have an effect on the points championship as well. I'm sure Mike Wallace and Andy will have a discussion. It'll be a 40-point margin now between Mike Wallace and Jack Sprague. Andy drops to 131 back. But look at the gap between 3rd and 5th. Literally only 6 points separating those 3 guys. Let's take a look at our next race. That's next week, Pikes Peak International Raceway here on ESPN. The Granger.com 200 round 9 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, 2:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. That's going to do it for us here at Memphis Motorsports Park. For Benny Parsons, Dave Burns, Amy East, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for joining us here on ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com. So long, everybody. Jack Sprague, your winner today.